There we go. Yay. Not that I'll remember to turn it in, but here, we're recording. Yay.
I was just going to say, remember to post it after.
Yeah,
Because I know I didn't last week.
Well, lately I haven't been recording it, but tonight we'll go ahead and record it. You never know. But fun. Well, what I wanted us to chat about tonight, and I mentioned it on our team page a little bit, and then I'll just get you guys talking pretty much the rest of the night. But what I really just wanted to hear from you and talk about is like the one thing, and I'm gonna give you the answer, don't worry. The one thing that really like makes or breaks what we do as coaches. It's what makes us either successful or what makes us have a rough day. It's what determines everything, and that's our mindset. And you guys know, because we're like that in our workouts, right? If your mind is telling you, do this, one more rep, you got this. You can push yourself so hard, right? Same thing with our eating. If you tell yourself, I am not going to eat sweets today. I'm not going to eat sweets today. No, I'm not going to eat sweets today. You can do it. And it's the same thing in our business. If we can fill our mind with positive thoughts, if we can fill our mind with belief and that confidence that we are awesome at what we do, that we are changing people's lives, all of those things we're going to talk about in a couple minutes, it will make or break how we communicate with people. It'll make or break what our posts look like. It'll make or break what our conversations behind the scenes look like, how our challengers feel, how our coaches on our team feel. Like our mindset is huge, okay? So here's what I want you to take a second to think about, and then we'll kind of share them, and it's okay that it's on the spot, but I want you to think. And for those of you that are brand new, I know this may not apply yet, but just kind of roll with me here. I want you to think of like, what is that one limiting mindset that I have? And basically what that means is, what is that fear? Or what is that phrase that keeps coming to mind every time I tell myself, okay, let's go do this specific thing. And then there's that phrase in your mind that's like, nope, 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 nope. And whether that's a fear or a phrase, is the question making sense? What is kind of that one thing that really is holding you back from being the type of coach that you dream about being? You know, for being that person that just runs with it. And I would say after I've been coaching like 2.5 years, it'll be 3 years in April. This summer at Summit, one of the speakers asked that, and they said, turn to your neighbor. And I was sitting by Kelly, and I was like, I don't know right now, Kelly. I need to take a second to think about it. Because in the moment, I thought, I'm confident in what I do. I just don't have the time to do it. And that was really what I was thinking. And I'm like, that's not a limiting mindset. There's got to be something a little deeper. And like 3 minutes into her session, I leaned over and I like whispered to Kelly, I got it. And for me at that time in the summer, I was like, I want to lead a team and I don't think I can. And so I finally like clicked for me. Here I was all confident in certain areas, but I was still scared to death to build a large team and thinking that I could actually lead everyone in the way they needed to be led. And here's what's awesome is once I could address that fear and kind of address that thing that was holding me back, I started to talk about it. And I started to realize that I don't need to lead this entire team by myself. And I started to realize that we're just going to figure things out as we go, and everyone's okay with that. And all those things that in the moment I was putting so much pressure on myself. And so I was nervous to bring more people on the team because I thought I'm not going to do it right. And I realized after a long time, like, who cares? None of us are going to do it right. And that's what makes us a team, is that we figure it out together. And so that was kind of like what was a big eye-opener for me. And that's why I want to talk about it tonight, especially as we roll into the holidays, where I know we're getting a lot of no's. I know we're getting a lot of price objections. I know we're getting a lot of like, oh, not now, but maybe later. So we've got to make sure that our mind is super positive. So I've given you kind of a minute to think by talking your ear off. If you already know, like, I know exactly what holds me back, go ahead and unmute yourself and share away.
I'll start.
Yes.
Because I know. So mine is for sure worrying about what other people think about me. For sure. I've worked on that a lot, but I have felt it coming back. And I'm really working on the negative mindset. So, and I also I have a fear of not being a good leader. So there's two.
Becca, I don't know if you want to address that since you know Lori super well. I can too, but I'll let you chat.
Oh boy, I feel like I'm like sitting into a therapy session. Like psych was my my major. So I'm just like, all right, here we go. Anyway.
Give it to me, girl. I'll take
Yeah,
it.
anyway. So how do I want to address this? Your first one was your fear of what people think of you. So I'm kind of going to tie this back to what we talked about a week or two ago and kind of remind you, like, how are you thinking about this opportunity? And is this something that you see as a gift?
Yeah. Sorry, I didn't realize you were asking.
Okay. So what I would encourage you to do, like when those moments of fear and negativity come in, is to go back to why it's a gift for you. Go back to that page. I hope you wrote them down. And if you didn't, I'm going to make you write it down after this. All of you really should be doing that. But go back to why it's a gift for you, because the more you remind yourself of that, the easier it's going to be to share when those sinking thoughts come in. And, you know, when you get that pushback from somebody or the negative Nancy, you know, on one of your posts, because Lord knows we all have one of them. And that's where you can find some of your fuel. Have you written it down, why it's a gift for you yet?
No, I actually missed, was it last week you said? I missed last week.
Perfect!
Call because my family was in town and I just have been feeling really overwhelmed on top of all this. Like, I feel like my work has been insane and my family was here and I'm just like trying to balance everything. And it's almost like I was doing really good with it. And then all of a sudden I just have been really overwhelmed. So, and we can talk about that more later, but anyway.
Sure.
So
I would say start with writing down why this opportunity, what it means to you and why it's a gift. And then use that as your, I don't want to say weapon, but use that as kind of like your fuel, and what will drive you in those negative moments. And even in the non-negative moments, right? Like in our moments of, you know, extreme excitement and extreme, I don't know, when all the stars are aligning, like those moments, also remind yourself in those moments too.
Yeah.
It's really important.
Lori, I sound like, I'm not going to say because it's recorded, but I don't know you as well, but here's what I'll ask you, because this is when I would struggle. What is your goal for November? What was your goal?
Oh, Lord. See, I've been really bad about all of this because I've just been feeling super overwhelmed all of a sudden.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't even, like, my goal was to hit Success Club and I've talked to like 1 million people and I'm just like sending share cards and people are just like, oh yeah, now I can't afford it or whatever. And I guess maybe that's part of it too. Cause I'm like, this is an amazing deal. Like, you're missing out on an amazing deal is what I want to say.
December 1st, when they say I'm ready, you're gonna be like,
yes,
$20 more.
Yeah. So I think that's not been helping because I haven't had, not as an excuse, but I've just been really like extra busy this month. Not as an excuse, but so then on top of when I have been making conversations and I feel like they're not going anywhere, I'm just like, wow.
I just asked because I can hear it in your, like, what you're saying, because I struggled all summer with that. I didn't set goals for myself. So I was like, the sky is the limit. I don't understand. So, like, you want Success Club. So you're starting to get a little, like, anxiety because you might not hit it. So maybe that's kind of playing into the fear and the doubt again.
Yeah. I've also had, like, a numbers goal, like money-wise, and I'm not hitting that. So I think that's, like, frustrating. So yeah, that's a good idea. I'll have to start writing down my goals. Thank
Something
you.
that you did this month that you're proud of.
Are you asking me?
Yeah.
Ugh. I don't know. That's awful. I don't know. I had a lot of conversations about like the sale going on. I guess I'm proud of that.
Did you stick to your workouts? Did you stick to your meal plan?
What, Cassie?
You got a coach on the call.
I know. I have 2 coaches, which is amazing. And that's
Yeah,
I'm like,
that'll happen in
struggling.
November, girl. That all happened.
Oh yeah,
in
I guess
November.
it did. I guess I don't know why I'm struggling. Yeah, I'm definitely proud of that. And I'm proud that my coach is doing her first free group this week, which is amazing. I'm definitely proud of her. So that's awesome. Go Renee. Thank you.
I
Thanks.
love it. I love it. And that's real. And that's why I want to talk it out, because I'm sure all of us think that exact thing about ourselves at some point, right? All right, so let's hear someone else. What's that like limiting thing? Like, what is that thing that you tell yourself every time you're ready to go for it, or what's holding you back?
I'm just like, maybe I suck at this. Because I have the same feeling. Like, I have so many conversations and like the same response. I probably heard like every excuse. So it's kind of discouraging, but I guess I pull myself out of it by reminding myself that I'm also doing it for myself. So then that's what gets me pushing. And then I don't know if it was on the last call that we had, or somebody said, that people are watching and you still are making a change, and they might not be saying anything, but they're still watching you, and you probably are encouraging them and helping them, but they just haven't got the courage to say anything. So that's just what I've been holding on to.
And I will say also, you're new at this. You're just starting out. And other people that have been doing this longer than me can tell you some of those no's at the beginning or the excuses at the beginning are the very people that join you. And they're watching you. So just you are amazing. Like, I look up to you. You just keep doing what you're doing. Seriously.
Aw, thanks.
Yes, I can see some of my excuses with their faces popped in here. Kelly Bray, Becca Hufford, Katie Graham, So don't worry. And it's so true. I mean, we say it every week. People are watching. And we know that someone's health and fitness journey is really personal. And so they can't jump in until they're ready themselves. Like, we could have the best sales pitch in the whole world, but unless they're actually ready to take that step, they're not ready. So yeah, it really is showing up, staying consistent. So you're doing an awesome, awesome job. All right, who else?
Mine kind of goes along with Lori a little bit, but from a different perspective. So I get really, where I kind of freeze up is when I don't have a relationship with someone. And so I feel like my excuse is that I don't know them as well, or they haven't seen me enough, or they haven't, whatever. Because I feel like I come off as salesy, and I think I'm doing I've seen scripts and stuff, and I'm not doing it much different from what you guys are doing, I don't think. So I feel like I'm coming off as salesy. The perspective part comes in as I chose to, not the coaching, I was an excuse. No, Whitney. 6 months. But the joining part, I actually chose to do that on my own. And then I came to Whitney when I had a tech question and I knew she did it. So I chose that on my own. And I know that that's going to be other people's journey, but I didn't even know coaching was a thing. I didn't know anything about that, but I chose to do the journey on my own. So I feel like me asking someone, even at the same time when I started a year and a half ago, I probably would have said no to that person because I didn't know them, but because I knew Whitney, when she said, are you in an accountability group? And I said, no, she was like, oh, I knew her. So that relationship and not having these relationships with Instagram, my platform, I don't know, I feel like that has really been a pressure. And then also, the people that I do know, my warm market that I know are watching me, that I see them watching me every single day on Instagram stories, and that are reaching out. This is actually a boiling point for me, but that are reaching out to other people in my warm market that are doing things for $400 a month, and you can't even eat real food. Yeah. That I don't even know how to channel that, because then you see people, again, this is a boiling point. I'm not talking to Lori. We've gone back and forth about this, that are posting things about that person from high school that you haven't talked to in 8 years. When they say, hey girl, to you, that's an MLM, that kind of thing. And so I just don't know how to kind of channel that energy, because I come from a different perspective, and I don't know. It's different. And, I'm kind of worried about that judgment from other people. But at the same time, Kelly, that Push Coach podcast, yeah, that was fire, because he basically said, your house is on fire. Your family's house is on fire. Would you sit back and call a locksmith and wait in your car on your phone? No, you wouldn't. You would kick down the door to get in there and save them. But I feel like kicking down that door comes across as, hey, you should really buy a security system for this. And do you want to look into my, so I don't know, like that's kind of where I'm at. And it's holding me back from sending those messages without first commenting and having a relationship with them for 3 months.
Yeah, I struggle with that too. Cassie and I have talked. That's been my big thing recently. I've seen a lot of negative posts about Beachbody, and I hadn't before. And that's really been getting in my head. And I think that's why I have the fear of what others are thinking about me. All of a sudden it's like worse. And that definitely has something to do with it. I'm glad you brought that up because I didn't even think about that. So.
And I can respond to that real quick and then someone else can jump in too. But that is where we get the opportunity to be different. And so maybe those scripts that I send out to people sometimes, maybe that's not how you need to talk. And that's okay. Like how I word things works for me sometimes, but it doesn't have to work for everyone. So that's why, like, you figure out, like, what would you have wanted, a year ago? Like, if I would have reached out to you before I knew you were doing stuff, like, what would have grasped your attention? And is that a 3-month relationship? And if so, girl, you better be talking to 20 people a day, like relationship wise, so that a month from now, you've got 20 people a day, like that you're constantly building relationships. It's good. We want to be building relationships. This is not like a wham bam, thank you ma'am business. This is super, super relational. And so it's good. I am constantly, like, we call it love bombing, always commenting on people's stories, liking their pictures, commenting on their stuff, like sending them messages that have nothing to do with Beachbody. That's good. People need to know that we want to be a part of their life more than just, hey, buy something from me. And that's what makes us different than every other MLM out there. I got 3 today about beauty products. Would you want to be a part of my beauty products? And then beanies. And I was like, no, thanks. Like, but good luck kind of thing. And they just went, okay. Whereas we know that if someone says, okay, or like someone says no, then we're like, awesome. And we continue to build a relationship. And that shows something different than, so when you look at those like hater posts, because we know they're out there and they do make me sick to my stomach too, and they make me rethink everything that I'm doing, is you have to stop and think, is what I'm saying genuine? And if it is, you have to be confident in that, And then one other thing is just remembering that just because your story looked a specific way, it doesn't mean that everyone else's did in the beginning. And I bet if we could fire off how everyone signed up, like I know you were like, do your own thing. Kelly was kind of do her own thing, but we would talk every once in a while. I needed help. Like I ran to a coach. She didn't even ask me. And I was like, hi, I see you post. And I'm desperate for accountability. Like, so you never, ever know like what someone needs in that moment. So just remember that. And that is whatever like makes you feel confident and pumps you up before you start to send either relational, or if it is ready to turn it into an invite, do that in that moment. Like get yourself, like, we always say that post-workout, like, like get yourself ready just to be genuine. That's probably my biggest thing. If anyone else wants to add to that. Nope.
I was going to say something about it. What my favorite thing right now is my little Excel sheet from January of all the no's. And I would challenge all of you. I think this was in the Heart Hustle Muscle. Have you gotten to 100 no's yet? I'll put that out there. Raise your hand. Has anybody gotten to 100 no's? It's a good thing because all those no's will be yeses eventually. Was what Whit said. I was a no. I told Whitney she was annoying for like 8 months. I was like, this is stupid, right? So just like the discouraging in those moments, like put their name in your little whatever, however you track, say when you last reached out, and then I don't know who said it. Cassie, you said it. Like they're watching you, which means they're waiting. I was watching Whitney. I was watching Becca. I knew exactly what they were doing, but I wasn't ready, right? But remember your no's. I know it's so discouraging because I get like this every day too sometimes. I hope that helps.
I also feel like I've ran out of people to talk to, and I'm like at a halt. And I went through all my Instagram people.
Are you adding new people to your network yet?
I have been, but that's what I was going to ask. Do I just like search, people and then just add them, right? Like as a friend, and then
there is a great Instagram training for for some of this in Heart Hustle Muscle. Lori and myself, one of us can tag you in some of those. Like they're quick 15 minutes to a half hour that you can watch just to kind of get an idea of how to navigate the connecting piece with Instagram, because it's so fast. There are so many people. There's so many new people every single day. And for how you can kind of whittle through all of that.
Okay. Because I'm like searching, I don't know, like, I'm searching.
Are you still
and
there?
And then I'm like looking for people. Huh? And then I'm like looking for people, and I'm like, I don't know. It's like turns into like 3 hours of like searching.
And that's where you need a timer. I know Kelly does this, but it's where you need to set a timer, because you can get so sucked in, right?
Yeah.
And then an hour has gone by, 2 hours gone by. So that's where a timer is a really good idea. And that timer will help you make sure that you're sticking to those certain behaviors that are the business building behaviors, rather than just scrolling, you know?
I think you need to do that. Cause then after all that, I only end up with like 2 people.
Yeah.
And I'm like, okay. Okay. Thanks.
All right. Who's up next?
And one thing I was going to say, and then we can be done with this topic of inviting, but one thing that I think is so important, because we all really like to build that relationship first, right? Like we've gotten that invite that's just like, whenever we get it, like, no, right? So just, whatever, whether you like coffee, whether you like tea, maybe you like eating cake, I don't know, whatever your thing is that you like to sit down and do with your best friend. Every single time you're getting ready to send that invite, think about what you would say to that person. Because if you've been building the relationship, you know how to converse with them. So just think about that for a minute. Are you making it a relational invite, or are you puking? You know what I mean? So sorry for the visual there for you, but like, that's one thing that honestly changed the game for me, is when I started treating them as a person rather than, just another invite that I have to check off on my daily list, that type of thing.
Gold. Love it. Love it. Love it. All right. Who's next?
I guess I'll go next if nobody else wants to go. So, relating to like what other people said, I'm struggling with people coming back and saying I don't have the money right now, which is extremely frustrating to me, because I see them going to Starbucks every day. I see them using their money for what I see as wasteful stuff, but to them it might not be. But so I struggle with that a little bit. And then the other thing that I know Whitney and I were talking about is I do a lot of stuff on my Instagram stories, but I don't post a lot on like my actual Instagram feed or whatever it's called. So I guess I'm struggling with what do I post? I'm not sure.
Do you want me to go for it? I'm like, oh my gosh.
Yes, go for it. I'm sorry. I'm trying to like unmute.
It's like a game show.
Yeah, please.
Anyway, so what I would say, especially for Instagram, because I want you to think of it first as like a storefront. So like, what do you want people to see when they come to your storefront? Because it's very visual. That's where it's very different than Facebook. They come to your grid and they get like 9 pictures right away, right? So I want you to treat it like a scrapbook. When you come to your page, you want them seeing like 9 different things of exercising. Incorporate different elements of your life, because that's you. And that's what's going to draw them into your storefront, so that they can check out your stories more, which you are, you're stating you're consistent with, so that they want to engage with you, right? Because I know I didn't want to be barfed at all the time with like exercise and a shake post, right? Mm-hmm. So if you treat it like a lifestyle, like a scrapbook, then it's going to be less confrontational, right? Which is what we're all trying to avoid.
Okay, perfect.
So all elements, food, exercise, what do you do for fun? If you're a believer, because I think most of us are in this theme, but, scripture, personal development, like all those different elements are so important to who you are as a coach and your journey. So, I would say share a good bit of variety.
And I think a lot of that has to do, going back to kind of what Lori said in the beginning, is I'm nervous about what other people are going to think about it. So I'm working on getting over that hump and just going for it. So that's where I'm at right now.
And I know that that piece takes time, and I know that you're new, you know, like I know that that takes time, but I was actually thinking, like in the middle of the night, I was up with my kids and I couldn't go back to sleep. And I was thinking specifically, a lot of you are like this, but for some reason, Becca and Kelly came into my mind because we say it a lot, like they're unapologetic in who they are. And it took them a while to get there. It didn't come out running, but both of those girls, if you will go and read through some of their posts, you'll see that they are brave. Like they're vulnerable in how they communicate. They're, you know, they share different pieces of their story. They're encouraging, they're opening up. And that's really what I think took them from like where they were to where they are now as like top leaders on our team, is just like that. All right, I'm just, like you said, I'm just going to go for it. And yet, maybe in the beginning, people may say something, but you give it time and everyone's going to know that that's who you are. And I had someone tell me a couple months into coaching, like they said to me, Whitney, I love that how coaching has brought out vulnerability in you. And like people hadn't heard me talk like that before, especially on this like public scale. And so don't be worried, because people are actually going to be drawn to that. And what draws people to us is our realness. And so it's okay. We don't want to be negative. There's a difference between being real and being negative. So that's a whole other topic. But, you know, it's good to share and connect with people on like an emotional level, like where they're like, oh, I feel that way too. Not like a tearful emotional level, but like, yeah, I'm happy about those things too. And I get frustrated about those things too. And so we'll talk more later. I have that grid I'm going to send you tonight, Hannah, that'll give you some post ideas or just kind of like a path to take. But yeah, go for it is really what you have to tell yourself every time.
This is ironic timing because I'm so annoying and I have the early access to the book because I'm annoying and I turn in everything. So I got flagged. But I'm talking about Rachel Hall. And today's thing was other people's opinions. It's a flow chart. You're not going to be able to see it, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to post it. It's illegal. It's fine. I'm going to post it in the Facebook page. And Hannah specifically, and everyone who struggles with this, I want you to look at it because I looked at it 6 times today. And every time I let that thought get in my head, I looked at her flow chart and I was like, stupid, done, right? Like that visual helps. So I'm going to post it, okay? And I'll tag you, Hannah, real quick. I'm doing that right now.
Thank you. You're supposed to sneak stuff to us. They just expect it.
I haven't been reading, so I need better.
All right, who's next? We have 15 minutes and then 10 minutes, sorry. It cuts us off at 40, not 45.
All right, so I think one for me, and it's getting better, but I'll share it because I know many of you come from smaller towns and smaller everything. One of the biggest limiting beliefs that I still struggle with at times is, well, they probably already signed with so-and-so, or they probably already signed with another coach, so I shouldn't even ask.
Look at your smile, because we talk about this all the time. I should let someone else respond because she's heard my voice in her head for 2 years. How about one of her coaches respond and be like, duh, I didn't sign with someone else.
How about I was with somebody else and I switched to you because you draw your people in. Like, I don't know. There's a couple coaches in my hometown too, but I feel like people, you know this, but people are going to jive with you for your story. And you're amazing at telling your story. Hence why I joined with you.
If we could all just learn sign language, we wouldn't have to unmute ourselves. That's a great idea. I don't know anything. Yeah. Anyone else want to comment to Becca? Because I can say it publicly too, but I will just echo then what Lori said, and what I share all the time is the idea of just uniquely you. Like, uniquely you. Be confident in who you are. Like, our worth is not determined in this business. You know, like our worth is who God made us, and that's it. And so this just gets to be a fun thing that we do, like a fun way that we get to work and contribute to the world. So if someone goes with someone else, that's what they needed. And you know, because your tribe is you. Like, your tribe are people who are so connected. I'm saying this to everybody. Like, the people who will connect with you will hop in with you. And that's a gift. And what's crazy too is it also means that we're going to set some people free to go join other teams as well. And we have to be okay with that, knowing that someone who may not connect with me may go with someone else, and then someone who may not connect with them may come here. And that's kind of the beauty of business. You know, it's different than just buying shoes. You can buy shoes anywhere, but it is personal, and that's okay. It's supposed to be personal. But I know that means it stings harder than just a normal shoe store. That's an analogy.
Yeah, and I can definitely attest to that too, that I had someone come to me because it was just two totally different coaching styles, completely like night and day different. But what I was posting, and it was all based on what I was posting. And what I was posting was who I, at the time, wanted to be, because I was still scared every time I pressed, post. But it was still me. And she, like, I just, I don't know, I love seeing those people thrive in your group then, because you weren't playing games with who you were, you weren't hiding who you were. And so they knew what to expect coming into your group, and because they knew, that you were going to be different. So I don't know, like I've loved seeing my girl thrive, because she was signed up with another coach, but it didn't work. And so she quit. And so she saw who I was through and through, and was like, okay, I can get on board with you. Let me try this again. And that was that.
And I'll just add real quick, I feel like I've talked a lot, but Christy, one of my new coaches, she went to high school, I think she said, with a coach. And I was so worried she was going to sign with her, even though she was one of my challengers, because like that girl gave her Shakeology samples and everything. But she had a conversation with me about it and said, like, she doesn't jive with that girl and what she shares. Like, she jived with me. And so I didn't even know her. I met her like through my best friend on social media, and we just jived. And so that just goes to show, like, it doesn't matter if you went to high school if they went to high school with a coach, or if they know a coach, if they jive with you, they're going to choose you, so.
I love it. Such good stuff. Anyone else want to share? We have about 5 minutes.
I've been literally sitting here listening to all of this going, I have no desire to talk. I have no desire to even be on this call with this conversation. But I'm going to throw this out there anyway. Basically, I feel like I have failed in so many other areas that I am terrified to even take a step, because I'm going to fail at this too.
All right. So first I'm going to ask you, what are you doing for personal development?
Not as much as I should. Well, I can be honest with that.
Yeah. What I will say, because, and Whitney can attest to this, so this is kind of like trickle down the lane, like my coach to me to you. But anyway, what we are feeding ourselves with our minds is so vitally important in this business, right? And we all have those times where we struggle and we're afraid to just downright fail. I know that I've been there. And I know that's a very vulnerable place to be. But what I will tell you with is what you are filling your mind with on a daily basis. So even if it's not a personal development book and you're sticking with scripture, that's awesome stuff too. Okay. But we need to make sure that what we're telling ourselves and what we're putting in there is good, because my friend, have you looked at your transformation picture recently? It is insane. Okay. And just, it takes time. This self-belief absolutely takes time. It took me, goodness, I've been doing this almost 2 years, and I'm finally showing my stomach and talking, but not that you have to show your stomach. Don't get that idea, any of you there. But it takes time to be vulnerable. Okay, so I'm going to turn into Shrek for a minute and just start slowly working on a layer, you know, whatever that is for you. It takes time. You know, don't just expect to go out there and whip out a huge piece of your past when you're not ready to share that yet. That's okay. You know, don't shy back just because of that. And in those moments, one last thing, and then I'll be quiet, I promise. Remind yourself why. Okay. Remind yourself why you started a journey. Even coaching aside, remind yourself why you decided to show up in the first place. Because I guarantee you will find power in that. Otherwise, you wouldn't be here right now.
No joke. I love it. And actually, we have a minute left, and that is exactly how I wanted to wrap it up. So Becca wrapped it up for me. Our mindset, game changer, right? We're talking it out. We're realizing that if we would just go for it or get vulnerable or whatever that is. And so what helps with mindset is doing the things that take no talent that we talked about, getting your workout done, drinking your shake, sharing with people, and personal development. So get a book that fuels your mind and read it, or turn on a podcast. I listened to like 2 hours of podcast the other day in the car while I was driving, and I was so incredibly inspired. I learned about business. I learned about myself. That is worth it. If you're going for a walk while you're working out, whatever you need to do, pop on a podcast, open up a book. It will change who you are on the inside, and it'll reflect how you communicate on the outside. That's the answer. The answer to those limiting mindsets can be found with filling your mind with like, I got this, I got this. Make sense? Let me snap a picture of us before we get cut off. Okay. Oh, I didn't get everybody. Ready? 1, 2, 3. Thank you. Anybody else want to add anything? It may cut off while we're talking, but I just wanted to at least wrap it up really quick before it did.
Just be you. There is only one you. Otherwise, you'd be somebody else and you're not. The end.
Exactly.
I just wanted to say thank you